What's up guys, Houndish here, and today, Act 3 of Revenant finally launches in Destiny 2. I know of course there are mixed feelings right now about the episode model and Revenant itself, but this is the first proper content drop we've had for a little while, of course after the holiday period as well, which has been very quiet. And so this week of course we get a new exotic mission, so there'll be the quest and of course the reward, a new exotic shotgun. Following on from the release this week though, we'll additionally see some extra quests dropping in the coming weeks. Sandbox tune-in, new weapons being introduced. Then of course we have the normal sort of reset stuff, Eververse rotation, and a handful of updates from Bungie, given that we're heading into 2025. So if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny stuff. But now, let's get into it. And firstly, a quick heads up from DMG here. It refers to Act 3 dropping this week with new artifact mods, exotic mission, and a handful of patch notes. But adds over the next few weeks the road to Heresy, with lots of changes planned for Crucible, Trials, and some killer sandbox tune-in, not to mention the fun content that Heresy has to offer. Then in the longer term, more prep for Codename Frontiers, game issue prioritization and bug fixes en route. Plus finally, the Destiny 2 team comms are coming out of winter hibernation, so stay tuned for TWIDs, devcoms, and more. So on that subject, one thing to keep in mind, Bungie have confirmed that the first TWID of the year, their weekly update of course, will be on January 9th. So today we get the new content drop, and then in a couple of days we'll see what else Bungie have to say. I suppose there's been a degree of anticipation for Bungie's return to communication, so I'll keep you posted on that. And otherwise, Bungie did post the new trailer for Act 3 just yesterday, so it gives us a first look at the new exotic mission, which would appear to be taking place in an awoken tower of some sort in the Tangled Shore. So obviously Fickrel has hijacked that. There's also a pretty cool fallen organ type thing that we see early on in the trailer with a bunch of symbols around it, so potentially some puzzles in this mission, as we'd normally see. It's obvious as well we'll be fighting a lot of Scorn, and they show a bit of gameplay of the Red Tape Scout Rifle and Heretic's Fervor Rocket Launcher, as well of course as the Slayer's Fang exotic shotgun. So a bit more glamorous gameplay for that, and we'll touch on some of those new rewards momentarily. But for a quick rundown of some of the content we're getting in the game this week, Revenant Act 3 will kick off with today's weekly reset, and it will mean the final main chunk of Revenant's story, so the quest steps will continue. Although Bungie have cut out a lot of the fluff, so most of it will be mission content and new dialogue and all that kind of stuff, probably get some cutscenes. And ultimately, it would appear that that will lead us to the new exotic mission for the episode as well. So we know that the mission is called Kel's Fall, and that it will reward the new exotic shotgun Slayer's Fang. Bungie showed off a bit of gameplay for this. It comes with a Nightsworn Sight, where dealing final blows to targets will grant Nightsworn Sight, and during that time, additional final blows grant True Sight, and reload speed and precision damage is increased, as well as submunitions being able to weaken targets. Then, rounds from the weapon will shatter into submunitions on impact, which is strong against Overload champions. And on top of that, it will be a craftable exotic as we normally see with the missions, so we'll be unlocking extra catalysts for it week over week. I'm not sure of the specific order, but there'll be catalysts that grant Repulsor Brace, Stats for All, Cascade Point, and Loose Change, which I would imagine would be pretty good on this thing, potentially. So it's going to be cool to check those bonuses out. And like I said, it probably will require some progress through the additional story steps for Act 3, but I'll keep you posted once we know exactly how to get into all of that stuff. Something else that Bungie have indicated will drop during Act 3 is a special pursuit similar to Riven's Wishes, these are Bungie's words, where you can complete quests to choose from a list of new and desirable rewards. And there's a handful of quests that reward something called Bento tokens, and both Eris and the Drifter will be giving us objectives, which enable us to pick up a handful of different rewards, including Artifice Armor, exotic upgrade materials, spoils of conquest, even weapons like Cloud Strike, and some otherwise unobtainable adept weapons from Trials, Cataphract, Igneous Hammer, plus there's stuff like the Hothead and Horror's Least, so that's going to be dropping in Act 3 as well. But for new weapons, firstly, these will probably drop initially during the exotic mission runs, as we saw in the previous episode, and then will be added to the general loot table and more than likely will be able to be farmed from Tomb of Elders, or indeed Onslaught. So there's Heretic's Fervor, which is an aggressive frame stasis rocket launcher. The first trait slot can roll Field Prep, Autoloading Holster, Rhyme Stealer, Tracking Module, and then there's Lone Wolf, Quick Draw, or Slide Shot. And the second slot can roll Chill Clip, Explosive Light. Interestingly, it also lists Quick Draw once again right there. But we also have Vorpal Weapon, Frenzy, Bipod, and there's Harmony as well. And it can get Volatile Launch, Alloy Casing, High Velocity Rounds. But obviously things like Field Prep or Autoloading Holster will be strong as always. Then in slot 2, there's Chill Clip, and there's an argument to try out things like Rhyme Stealer Chill Clip combo for Ad Clear. Worth exploring at the very least. Not entirely sure how good it will be, but otherwise, Harmony and Frenzy are options if you want them. And we're left with known bonuses like Bipod, Vorpal Weapon, and Explosive Light. So otherwise, it's a reasonably typical rocket launcher, but it can certainly be a good weapon. There's also the Red Tape, which is a status lightweight frame scout rifle. First slot again can get Rhyme Stealer, and yes, that can pair with Headstone in the second slot, so that'll be a pretty nice PvE combo straight away. There's Closing Time, Keep Away, and Lone Wolf, which are similar bonuses in how they work to a degree. Otherwise, like similar scout rifles in the archetype, 4th times the charm will be decent for larger mags. Demolitionist speaks for itself, I suppose, and Attrition Orbs is there if you want to generate a lot of orbs. But in the second slot for this one, aside from Headstone, Explosive Payload is always pretty popular on these, and then there are the damage perks like High Impact Reserves, Adrenaline Junkie, or even better, Rampage. So you can take popular roles from other scouts in the archetype like Tarek Sipas, where 4th times the charm and Explosive Payload was really popular, or probably the thing that makes this interesting is Rhyme Stealer and Headstone. So let us know any roles that stand out on those weapons to you guys down below. Something else to mention for the week, a couple of highlights from the Eververse rotation as we understand it. Of course, this has the potential to change, but generally doesn't. There's the Synchrotron Advancer exotic ship, up for 2,000 Bright Dust this week. We've also got the Restored Future Shell, which is actually a new one for this episode. That will sell for 2,850 Bright Dust. It also has silver costs, so keep in mind the Bright Dust option is there this week. And for 2,000 Bright Dust, there's the Trustworked Clipper. I think that's another one this season. And we have the Surging Current Exotic Sparrow as well for 2,500 Bright Dust, and one that a few players might like, but the 53rd ornament for Ace of Spades, which dropped in the last episode, is available for 1,250 Bright Dust this week as well, according to the rotation. So let us know if any of those stand out to you guys, and I'll keep you posted on full inventory and updates regarding that after the reset. The other thing to keep in mind with the update this week, I'm sure there'll be a few patch notes, and of course it's dropping the new content itself, but Bungie do have a separate patch which is actually dropping next week on the 14th of January, and that's the one that will revert Graviton Lance RPM back to 300. There's also the update for Malfeasance to give it intrinsic effects from the Precision Hand Cannon perk, as well as other tuning which we have outlined in separate videos, so I'll link one down below, but there's adjustments to sidearms, SMGs, rapid fire auto rifles, high impact pulse rifles, precision hand cannons, scout rifles, and snipers that'll be part of this update. A lot of the changes are PvP focused, but in case you're wondering about those changes when Act 3 actually goes live, they have been confirmed to be dropping next week, so just something else to keep in mind. For today though guys, that is what we have to speak about in the video, so let us know down in the comment section if you'll be diving back into the game this week to pick up the new exotic or anything like that. I'll be sure to keep you posted when we get info on how we can pick it up, any updates that Bungie give us, or unexpected things dropping with Act 3. So keep it locked and loaded here on the channel, get subscribed, hit the bell icon down below as well, as that really does help us out and means that you won't miss out on any important updates. Otherwise though, cheers for tuning in today, and I will catch you guys very soon.